All right. Warm greetings to you, ladies and gentlemen, beginners to principles of accounting. This is another video, another presentation by Mr. Masia Chengo that I have presented for you. Those who are beginning accounting or principles of accounting for the first time, I think this is a video for you. Masscom studies, just commercial, Masia Chengo commercial studies, where I will be unearthing some principles in accounting. Okay, let's start our presentation for today. We want to start with the ledger. Okay, we want to start with what we call the ledger. Ledger is the main book of accounts. Ledger is the main book of what? Accounts. Let me get my pen here. Is the main book of accounts. That is the ledger. The main book of accounts. Why? The question is why. We call it the main book of accounts because all accounting information will eventually be recorded and summarized in the ledger. Okay, I think you are good to go. We can follow this one. Then we've got the sections of the ledger. The ledger is divided into three main sections. The ledger is divided into three main sections. Section number 1, the general ledger. Section number 2, the personal ledger. Section number 3, the private ledger. Okay, but the personal ledger, let's get to personal ledger. The personal ledger is divided into two: the receivable ledger and the payable ledger. Okay, so I think I will give you details of this, but the ledger, let's go back again. The ledger is divided into our main sections, three sections, that is the general ledger, personal ledger, and the private ledger. Okay, let's proceed. Sections of the ledger. Okay, this is the detail that I've decided to give for you on the details of the what? The ledger. Let's start with the let's start with the general what? The general ledger. Okay, on the general ledger, it records, okay, all revenues. I think you know what revenues are. The income that we receive in terms of sales of after selling some goods, whether on credit or on cash basis. Okay, but remember this one is for credit. Or we record all the expenses. Again, record all the expenses. We record all the assets of the company in the general ledger. So the general ledger records, we record all the revenues, all the expenses, and all the assets of the company. In the personal ledger, we said there are 2, 3, and we move on to the personal ledger. Okay, in the personal ledger, we have got the receivable ledger. It records all the credit customers. Receivables, these we used to call them debtors. Okay, they are now called receivable nowadays, or in simple terms we can call them credit customers. What are these credit customers? These are individuals or company who buy goods on credit, or where we provide our services on credit basis. Where we provide our services on what? Credit what? Basis. Okay, let's move on to the payable ledger. In the personal ledger, the payables, I think you remember what are payables. Payables, these are our creditors. We used to call them creditors. We record all accounts of what? Our credit suppliers. All accounts of our credit suppliers. Those who provide goods to us on credit basis are called what? Suppliers. So we record them in the payable ledger. Okay, let's move on to the other ledger, which we call the private ledger. All accounts that relate to the owner of the business. All accounts that relate to the what? To the owner of the business. The owner of the business might be involved in introducing new capital into the business. When he or she introduces new capital in the business, that's a plus. We record that one in the private ledger. Wherever the owner takes goods in the business for private use, it's a minus. So all this will be taking place in the private ledger. I think you are good to go on this one. Okay, let's try to summarize this one. So we agree that the ledger is the main book of account. The ledger is the main book of account. That's our ledger. Okay, but the ledger itself is divided into our main 3 sections. Okay, into 3 main sections. All right, they are divided into, this is the ledger. In the ledger you find there will be the personal section. Okay, in the ledger there will be the general section. Okay, in the ledger there will be the general section. In the ledger also there will be the private section. Okay, so we have got the private ledger here. Okay, private ledger. Let me write it for you. Okay, private. Okay, private ledger. Okay, we agreed the ledger is into 3 parts. Okay, the first one we agreed, this one is our personal ledger. We move on to the private ledger. We move on to the general ledger, the third one. Okay, and we agreed that in the general ledger, what do we record? We record our revenues, we record our expenses, we record also our assets. So if you just remember this acronym EA, then you are good to go on this one. Okay, so we're saying, but in the personal ledger again is then divided into the receivable ledger and the payable ledger. And we said these are our debtors. We used to call them our debtors. Okay, we used to call them our debtors, and these ones we used to call them our creditors. Okay, this is a summary of our ledger. I think we can proceed on this one, right? Then let's proceed to the accounts that can be recorded into the ledger. All right, the accounts that can be recorded in the what? In the ledger. Okay, ledger accounts. Okay, we are on ledger what? Accounts. Ledger accounts. Okay, we are on ledger accounts. We have got what we call the personal accounts and the impersonal account. Personal account, I think from this one, they record accounts of individuals or of what? Companies. Then we have got what we call the impersonal account. Impersonal, it means it's non-person. It doesn't involve human beings, okay, or companies, right? But let's start with we said the ledger, the accounts, the accounts are flowing like this. In the ledger accounts, personal accounts, but personal accounts, the accounts of our credit customers, and accounts of our suppliers, which we call the creditors. But we have got also in the ledger, we have got in the ledger accounts, we have got also what we call the real accounts and what we call the nominal accounts. Okay, nominal accounts. I think I omitted this one. Nominal what? Accounts. Okay, on this one is our what? Our nominal okay, accounts. Okay, so we have got personal ledger, receivable and payable, impersonal, real accounts, and nominal what? Accounts. Okay, maybe this is let me get to this slide a little bit, okay, to try and help those who might not be getting me right here. With what we said, personal accounts, we record personal accounts are accounts of what? Of businesses and what? Individual. Personal accounts, accounts of businesses, of companies, and what? Individuals. Okay, then impersonal accounts, we said impersonal accounts, they do not involve individuals or companies, so we call them real accounts. Then on the real accounts, we are recording our physical assets. On our nominal accounts, we record our expenses and our revenues. I think this one is clear for everyone. Okay, let's get to the format of the ledger. I want you to pause the video and take the format of the ledger. It's simple. We have got our debt, details, folio, and amount, the debit side and the credit side. I think I will expand this one in detail in our next video. But remember to subscribe to our video, like our video, but above all, remember that Jesus Christ loves you, especially you.